Wells Fargo, Minnesota Sports Prep Update for Friday, December 13th. I'm Ryan Feld.
Three for Jones. Got it to go down. A three ball for Tyus Jones, his first tonight. That's been a big improvement in his game, Tyus Jones. The ability to make outside shots. Same play. White to Okafor. Well, they got to the same spots in their press offense. And it's Paul White and Okafor, 2-on-1. Three for Jones, and a chance at a 4-point play.
Clay Matvick last night on ESPN2 as the Duke duo dazzled. The duo meaning Jahlil Okafor from Chicago and Tyus Jones of Apple Valley. Two of the top basketball recruits in the country went head-to-head last night at Apple Valley High School. The game was nationally televised, and the two Duke-bound seniors did not disappoint. Jahlil Okafor, the 6'10" center from Whitney Young High School in Chicago, scored 22 points on the night. He's the number 1 recruit in the country. Apple Valley's Tyus Jones is ranked number 4, but the top point guard. He finished with 29 as his Eagles fell 80-70. Elsewhere last night in boys basketball, a game between McGregor and Greenway got a little ugly. Not because of fights, but because of fouls. 60-plus combined on the game. McGregor shot 29 of 61 from the free throw line. According to the Minnesota State High School League, the most free throws attempted in the game was 60, set by St. Peter in 1994. So McGregor broke that record last night with 61. The High School League does not track the record for most combined fouls in a game. If they did, I think we would have had another last night. Oh, and by the way, with the win, McGregor gets its first regular season victory since the 11-12 season.
I like saving money. I mean, it's not like I have a purse stuffed with coupons or... Okay, I do. The other day, I went into Wells Fargo to get help with a car loan.
Good news. You qualify for our double discount promotion. Get double the interest rate discount we normally give on select new loans and lines of credit just for being a Wells Fargo checking package customer.
And the best part, I didn't even need a coupon.
Come to Wells Fargo to discuss how the double discount promotion can help with the interest rate on your new loan or line of credit. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far. Subject to credit qualification. Wells Fargo Bank N.A. Equal housing lender.
I'm in a state of caffeination. Got all my fingers shaking. Must have been my large Americano, mochaccino, macchiato. Now the family's gone to bed, and that's my favorite time to get some tips on better rates. Cause my State Farm guy answers late, and even when it's not my agent, someone's standing by so patient. Getting coverage questions answered helps me to relax. Get to a better state, State Farm.
Visit Brandy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office, located off Singletree and Flying Cloud Drive, online at brandywarmbier.com.
As we've spent this week transitioning from the fall sports to the winter, we've been taking a closer look at some of your favorite winter sports, more specifically the history. Today it's on to wrestling. The early season favorites this year, starting in Class 3A. No surprise, Apple Valley leads the pack. They've won 8 straight state championships, but tied in the finals last year with St. Michael Albertville. Also look for Prior Lake Hastings and Owatonna. Owatonna, by the way, which just won the Class 5A state football championship, came in with a new head coach a couple years ago, Cliff Castile, who replaced Scott Davis. He was at Owatonna for 25 of his 35 years as a head wrestling coach and racked up a national record 996 dual meet victories. But he resigned before the 2011 season and spent last year coaching wrestlers at Flathead High School in Kalispell, Montana. Now that a 2-year suspension from coaching leveled by the Minnesota State High School League has passed, Davis is back as the head coach at Eden Prairie. In Class 2A, Foley is the early season favorite. Also near the top, expect Albert Lee, Scott West, Cannon Falls, New Prague, Hutchinson, and last year's champ, Casson Manorville. In Class 1A, Jackson County Central won it last year. They're the odds-on favorite to start the season. Also watch out for Frazee, Chatfield, Sibley East, ACGC, and KMS. The state wrestling tournament is one of the oldest under Minnesota State High School League governance. It goes all the way back to 1938. And in those early years, Minneapolis Marshall and Robbinsdale were some of the top teams, along with Faribault, Blue Earth, Owatonna, and Wayzata. Wrestling stayed in a one-class format from 38 all the way until 1975. In 76, it split into 2 classes when Albert Lee and Canby won state championships, and both teams still remain strong today. A 3rd class was added in 1996, and since that time, Apple Valley has been the dominant program in the state and in the nation. As we conclude our transition from the fall to the winter sports, we wrap up our history lessons today with what we're best known for, boys hockey. This is one famous tournament nationwide. I'm sure you've heard the cliches often compared with Texas football and Indiana basketball, and the tourney goes back a ways to 1945. Eveleth won the first, followed by Roseau and St. Paul Johnson. Then Eveleth won it again, 4 times in a row, a feat that is yet to be matched. International Falls came close in the mid-60s with 3 in a row. Jefferson did the same thing in the early 90s. And the attendance just seems to keep on growing, drawing well over 100,000 fans a year. In fact, you have to go all the way back to 1975 to find fewer than 92,000 tickets sold at the big show. The record was set in 2008 when nearly 130,000 fans passed through the turnstiles at XL Energy Center, with a television audience considerably larger. In fact, Lou Nanny once told me when he was a GM for the North Stars in the 80s, the TV rights were more expensive for that one weekend of boys state high school hockey than they were for the entire season for the Stars. The TV broadcasts of the tournament got to be so big, even legendary broadcaster Howard Cosell called some of the action. But what's strange is that many of the players who have their names littered throughout the record books had very little, if any, NHL career. John Mayasich, Johnny Pohl, Carl Gehring, and Willard Eichela, just to name a few. Yet today, when you look at the top NHL prospects around the world, Minnesota is still considered one of the hotbeds.
Your first word probably wasn't something like finance, or savings, or ATM. But whatever that first word was, it opened up a world to you that was built on conversations. It's this exchange of ideas that Wells Fargo puts into practice every day, through listening, guiding, and planning. So when the conversation is about ways to grow your savings or your business, we'll be here to help you find the right answers. Because an open dialogue is what opens doors. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A.
Winter is here, and it's time to turn up the heat with Magna's Self-Lighting Torch Kit, available at your local Hardware Hank. Magna's Self-Lighting Torch Kit is portable and powered by propane, so it can be used wherever and whenever you might need it. Visit your nearest Hardware Hank and pick up Magna's Self-Lighting Torch Kit today, and always have the power of heat when you need it.
You've got a lot more going for you with Hank, Hardware Hank.
Wells Fargo Minnesota Sports Prep Update can be heard right here every Monday through Friday. And for more coverage, you can find us on the web at minnesotascores.net. That's minnesota-scores.net. I'm Ryan Phelps on Minnesota Sports Radio.
It's time for another round of live local play-by-play coverage of Southwest Metro High School sports. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by the Mulch Store, Performance Therapy Innovations, Alpha Investment Advisors, The Tavern on 4 and 5, The Sun Current, Home Video Studio, and in partnership with BEC TV, Bloomington Educational Cable Television. Catch all of the action all season long on your home for Southwest Metro Sports, PSB Media. Game time is coming up next. Good evening and welcome into the Eden Prairie Community Center here on this Friday night as we're live for boys high school hockey on PSB Media. Eden Prairie takes on Cretin Derham Hall here at the Community Center. My name is Brett Johnson, joined along by co-owner of PSB Media, Kevin Hagstrom, and looking forward to a good matchup here between a couple of good hockey teams. Although it feels like whenever you see Eden Prairie versus Cretin Derham Hall, we should be in the Metrodome watching a football game, but won't be the case tonight. It'll be a little puck for you coming at you as both these teams come in with undefeated records. Eden Prairie is 4-0. Cretin Derham Hall with a 3-0-1 record. First line on the ice for Eden Prairie, which features Steven Spinner, Colton Schmidt, and also Jack Keeley as the Eagles will dump it deep into the Cretin Derham Hall end. It'll be Nick Reese, the leading scorer here for the Raiders so far this season, trying to work his way up the boards. Held in, though, by Eden Prairie, where it'll go back into the corner. Be retrieved by Flood. Flood will get it out of center at his own zone, and here's Reese. Reese will attempt to dump it, blocked by Eden Prairie. Now it's Olmchek. He'll fire a shot. Gerds will glove that out of the air and drop it for a teammate. Shu will get thrown into the boards. Now it's Schmidt off the advertising, but not out. Pass intercepted by Eden Prairie, and here come the Eagles in transition as Keeley able to get it out to Spinner. Spinner tied up by a Cretin player as he was trying to cut through to the net. And now Cretin will send it back out to the neutral zone. As this game just about 1 minute old, and Cretin Derham Hall and Eden Prairie squaring off here this evening. Next line on the ice for Eden Prairie is Sullivan. Oh, turned it over for a second, but was able to break it up. Mark Sullivan up the near side boards will get it out to neutral. Now Eden Prairie is able to change their forwards. For Cretin Derham Hall, it'll be Cole Grentz. Fires a shot. Now Gertis gives up a rebound, able to cover it up and flipped out of the zone as we'll get our first whistle with 15:39 to go.
Cretin Derham Hall doing a nice job getting some quick shots early in on Gertis. He's had to make some tough saves, and so far not seeing the puck all that well, especially from those blue line shots, and see how this plays out the rest of this first period.
Puck tied up after the faceoff, comes away to Eden Prairie. And here's Michael Graham, the star sophomore here of the Eagles hockey team. One of only two sophomores on the roster. Now Cretin Derham Hall will bring it into the Eden Prairie zone. Centering pass far ahead of his teammate as it was picked off by Sullivan, who will bank it out to the neutral zone. Now here comes Cretin from their own blue line, looking to set up their offense. Snugrud will pick it off. First time he's touched the puck tonight. Luke Snugrud on quite a streak as he has points in 16 of his last 18 games, dating back to last season for the Nebraska Omaha recruit. And Eden Prairie will throw that all the way down on net. On the Cretin Derham Hall goaltender, Alex Bailey, who's playing in just his second game this season. A little surprised that he was getting the start as Jansky had been seeing the majority of the time for the Raiders this season, but Bailey will get the start on the season 1-0 with a 0 goals against average. Stopped 19 shots in a victory over Matamidi. Dumped into the Cretin Derham Hall zone where it'll be chased down by Sam Wackman. Tied up near the Raider bench. And sent right back in behind the net of Bailey. Andy Aguilar will have his Eagle teammates recruit quickly up ahead to Harry Pager. Pager gets thrown to the ice, but not before he's able to tip it down into the Raider zone. Now here comes Alex Reese. 2 goals and 4 assists on the season. Good enough for 6 points, which leads the team. Now a battle for the puck behind the net. 3 Raiders and 2 Eagle players were battle for the puck as we're at the 13:45 mark here of the first period. They try to hit a player streaking into the Eden Prairie zone, but good defense played by Aguilar to get a stick on that one. Now here's Eden Prairie 3-on-2. There's a shot from the lower part of the circle, which is turned away by Bailey. Now it's Cretin Derham Hall 2-on-2. Aguilar will force it into the corner. That's Brett Hubner, the second leading scorer for the Raiders on the team. He'll lose the puck, and it's Eden Prairie back out to the neutral zone. Mark Sullivan. Sullivan on his backhand will center it to nobody. Into the near corner where he'll chase it down himself. The rest of his teammates off on a change. Raiders turn it over. Now it's Artsinger. Artsinger up to the point as Jack Sullivan launches a slap shot from the blue line, which is turned away. Now from behind the net, the Raiders will have the puck. And they'll get it out to center. There it'll be Grentz who will leave it for a teammate. Prairie right back into the Cretin zone. Cretin Derham Hall undefeated on the season with a 3-0-1 record, although they're not ranked in the latest Let's Play hockey poll. Part of the reason is that they haven't played that tough of a schedule yet. Yes, we'll get a whistle here with 12:31. The most impressive victory was a 4-0 shutout over Matamidi. Besides that, they just haven't played a tough schedule yet, but that'll certainly change once they get into Suburban East Conference play.
They're starting their tough schedule here tonight against a top-ranked Eden Prairie team.
Yeah, Eagles, on the other hand, number 5 in the latest Let's Play hockey poll. Playing the number 1 team in the Let's Play hockey poll. It's the first time they've ever been rated number 1. Thrown on net, trying to get a stick on that, and a tip in front was Riley Artsinger. Now from the far corner, it'll be the Raiders. Going cross ice to the number 15, Joe Decker. Now it's Eden Prairie As Graham works his way to center, gets it to Jack Sullivan. Sullivan couldn't hit that one home as it was dangling for him right in front of the net. A whistle here with just under 12 minutes to go.
Passing sequence by Eden Prairie. Quickly getting into the offensive zone from the neutral zone to get that chance in on net. Challenge Bailey again, who hasn't played too much at the varsity level this season, so maybe a little bit rusty.
Good defense there, played by Cole Drentz on that last sequence, as you can see on replay, to tie up Sullivan on that last chance for Eden Prairie. Now here come the Eagles, who have really established a good forecheck over the past few minutes or so, as Sullivan will ring it around the end boards where Bailey will slow it down. Bailey will collide with Jack Clays on his way back to the net. And now we're going to get a whistle here with 11:34 to go. They're going to talk things over with Jack Clays, who had a little collision there with Bailey. I think the faceoff's going to at least come out to the neutral zone, which it will. Jack Clays, Eden Prairie baseball fans will recognize his name. He was a good baseball player for the Eagles. Second baseman and catcher. I know, Kevin, you saw him play a lot of times during the baseball season. A versatile player, good hitter. Not often you see a guy who plays catcher and second base.
Yeah, like a Craig Biggio type. I think Biggio was
that's right,
coming up on the farm system as a catcher, then made the transfer over to second base. A Hall of Fame second baseman for the Astros.
That's a pretty astute observation. I forgot about Craig Biggio. He did used to be a catcher, didn't he?
Yeah, well, it'd be a nice comparison for Clays, right?
Yeah, that's
be
right.
Called a Craig Biggio in the making, perhaps.
And Clays, this is his first year playing hockey in quite some time, as he had not played hockey for Eden Prairie for a few years. Focusing a little bit more on baseball. Cretin will get it out to center ice, but Eden Prairie able to knock it down. Now here's Cretin Derham Hall. Battle for the puck at the circle. There's a shot that's blocked. And the Eden Prairie player slow to get up. That's Mark Sullivan. I think he's got something. He's a little shaken up still on the ice, but the Eden Prairie getting it out to the neutral zone. And now the Raiders, Olmsted. Olmsted across to his teammate. He will skate with it on the penalty box and dump it in. Gertis will slow it down. And now it'll be tipped in by Jack Keeley. Still scoreless here at the Eden Prairie Community Center. Decent turnout for tonight's game on the Eden Prairie side. For Cretin Derham Hall, a little bit more of a drive to head over here to the Community Center, coming from St. Paul. Their side about half full. Here come the Raiders. As it'll be Jackson. Jackson will lose it. And now it's Steven Spinner with a burst of speed. Spinner, what vision to try to throw that behind him. Seen that a lot this season. And it looks like he might have drawn a penalty on that play.
Spinner showing off his versatility, good stick handling, and great speed there. And as you mentioned, able to draw the penalty, so doesn't result in a shot on goal or a goal, but possibly generating some goal-scoring opportunities with the man advantage.
I was impressed by the fact that he was tied up, about to get thrown to the boards, and he was still almost able to get that pass off to Luke Snuggerud. But here's a look at Eden Prairie's power play, where Snuggerud will have it at the point. Eden Prairie was 2 for 2 on the power play last night. Bailey gave up a rebound, but no one there hit it in for Eden Prairie. On the season for the Eagles, their power play 3 for 7. Good enough for 43%, which goes along with their trend from last season. Last season, Eden Prairie's power play struggled in the first half, but was great in the second half. Back over the last 11 games last season, Eden Prairie's power play was converting at a little under 30%. There's a shot from Artsinger, turned away by Bailey, who gave up a rebound. Eden Prairie still has possession with 1:16 to go on the power play. Now it's hit out to center ice. That'll be Parrish. And they'll cross ice to Snuggerud, who will spin around to Cretin Derham Hall player, get it to Clays at center. Clays will be forced over to that far side, though. That's Artsinger, this second power play unit on the ice for Eden Prairie. Artsinger back behind the net, 45 seconds to go on the man advantage, and the Raiders are able to clear it. as they'll quickly get it up ahead to Artsinger. Artsinger will dump it in as 3 Eagle players go off on a change. That will allow the Raiders to clear the puck down again and importantly force a face-off on Jake Gertis. Good hustle there by Andrew Traxler. Waste a little bit more time here on the Eden Prairie power play. Andy Aguilar will send it behind the net. Eden Prairie will work with it out to Mark Sullivan. Sullivan checked into the boards. Now it's into the near corner. A couple of players get tied up. Comes away to Eden Prairie. They'll get it up the point to Aguilar. Aguilar back to Graham. Graham will send it down low to Schmidt. Schmidt tried to backhand it around the end boards. Now it comes away to Sullivan. Sullivan up to Graham. Penalty about to expire as Graham faked a shot. Trying to get the tip in front was Mark Sullivan. He did get his stick on it, but tipped it wide. Raiders are now full strength with 8 minutes to go here in the first period. Now a shot gets through, but it goes wide of the net as Bailey was down on the ice, and we'll get a whistle now. And some Cretin Durham Hall fans not happy. Our broadcast today is brought to you by the Mulch Store. Never too early to start thinking about spring, even though it's very, very cold outside. Start making those springtime plans as they have the best compost you'll find in the entire Midwest. They're online at mulchstoremn.com as they have locations all over the metro area. Again, that's mulchstoremn.com, mulchstoremn.com. Raiders will dump it into the Eden Prairie end. Coming off of a power play. 2 penalties were just a second ago. They were coincidentals. So will remain even strength here on both squads. That shot will be blocked by Jackson. Jackson on the season for the Raiders. 4 goals and 1 assist. Last season was their 8th leading scorer with 10 points on 2 goals and 8 assists. And now it'll be tipped in by Parrish. By Cretin Durham Hall, Nolan Ryan. Turned over to Snugrud, who scores! Luke Snugrud sniping that into the net. Eden Prairie has a 1-0 lead.
Beautiful play by Snugrud, and able to clip the bottom end of that crossbar, fit it underneath, get the deflection in for the first goal of the game. He's been skating very well throughout the course of this game and finally pays dividends for him.
There's a turnover at the blue line for Cretin Durham Hall. Dangerous pass. Going cross ice as Cole Gens was trying to get it over to a teammate here on the near side, but Snugrud picked it off, and as you said, Kevin, able to snipe that one into the corner. So Snugrud, that goal will be unassisted. And now it'll be Keeley skating with it into the Cretin Durham Hall end. Schmidt to give chase for the Eagles. From the far corner, it's Olmchek. Olmchek will fly that one into the air where it'll actually land in the penalty box. As we'll get a whistle here with about 6.5 minutes to go in the first period. As you can see, a successful Eden Prairie hockey team over the years. Made a number of state tournament appearances. Championships in 2009 when they were led by Nick Leddy, who's playing in the NHL. Also a championship in 2011 when Kyle Rao notched the game winner in overtime against Duluth East, having himself a stellar career with the University of Minnesota. Cretin Durham Hall has a recent championship as well. They won the state tournament back in 2006.
Mentioning Kyle Rao, he led the nation last year in game-winning goals.
So fitting he would have gotten the game winner against Duluth East a few years ago. Now Cretin Durham Hall, a 3-on-1. There's a shot by Leishman, and it's turned away by Jake Curtis, electing not to pass it on that 3-on-1. Trying to go high stick side on the junior Eden Prairie goaltender, but he was able to make the save. Now it's Eden Prairie the other way as Artsinger It's checked by Jackson. Good job by Jackson to tie him up. Now with Snuggerud. Well, throw that one into the ceiling here at the Eden Prairie Community Center.
Rafter ball.
Oh, the rafter ball. Looking at our
Reminds me
replay.
of Foursquare. Or not Foursquare, four base. Did you ever play four base in high school?
That name sounds familiar. I think I might have played it like in middle school or something.
You had like those gymnastics mats as the
Oh,
bases.
is that the one where
You'd
you
had
could
to
have
run
like
out.
8?
Yeah,
like-
you have to run around twice or 2.5 times.
Well, can't you have like 10 people on a base too or something?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that game.
But
yeah,
then once you let off, you had to run. You couldn't retreat.
Yeah.
It's a pretty fun game. And if you hit the top of the risers, it'd be a home run. Hit the risers, it was a double.
That'd be a fun game to play. I don't know, now you got my memory jogged on that one. That or pin guard, if you ever played that one.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
Olmsek will dump it in where Luke Snuggerud will pick it up for Eden Prairie. And Snuggerud will send that into the fan section. So Snuggerud sent it to one corner, now he sends it to the opposite corner.
Yeah, well, the reason why I was mentioning the four base is if you did kick it into the rafters, that was an automatic out.
I don't remember. I don't think that was a rule at where I went to school.
That was the dangerous game you played if you were trying to go for the long fly ball.
That adds a little incentive to it, so you can't get the moonshot home run.
Right.
Got to hit line drive home runs. Up to the point, and now back down into the corner where Alex Reese will get tied up by a few Eden Prairie players. The Eagles will steal it away. They'll overshoot Jack Keeley where it's intercepted. Now Keeley gets it back as he'll be forced into the corner. And going out to the point to nobody. Artsinger will get it as he's pressured by Reese. Keeley almost had his pocket pick there by Hubner. And now the Raiders will regroup near their own blue line. Sullivan will backhand that out near the penalty box. Not a busy hockey schedule tonight. That was picked off by Colton Schmidt, who tried to put a deke on the Cretin Derham Hall player. The Raiders a little sloppy in their own zone. The turnover a few minutes ago led to an Eden Prairie goal at the 6:51 mark. As now we're at the 3:50 mark here in the first period with the Eagles ahead 1-0. And for Luke Snuggerud, that was his second goal on the season to give him 10 points and extend his streak to 19 games where he has at least, I should say, points in 17 of his last 19 games. Eden Derham Hall will bank that off the boards in the Eden Prairie zone where it's flipped right back out. Here's Michael Graham. He'll spin, and then they'll send it over to Snuggerud. Weak side, he'll center it on a backhand. Comes away to Sullivan, and he was denied by Bailey on a point-blank chance. Andrew Bailey staying sharp. Now Cretin Derham Hall, they have a trailer on the weak side, but Gertis turns him away. The Raiders denied in transition. Now Jackson gets tackled to the ice at the blue line where the puck is now in the near corner. It'll be Luke Snuggerud. Snuggerud around one Raider player works his way to center and will leave it for number 21 Jack Sullivan down low. What a great little pass there by Luke Snuggerud, but Jackson's quick enough to cover that up.
For a guy who's only making his second start of the season, Bailey, outstanding job to slide over to the back side and protect from that point-blank shot. Again, we saw by Sullivan. Great opportunity, but a better job goaltending and shifting side to side in the crease.
From the point through some traffic. Comes through to Bailey, who's able to hit that one into the corner. There's a big slap shot from Mark Sullivan, which trickles off the side of the net. Back to Sullivan. Clays tipped that in front, but unfortunately for him, he tipped it into the corner. Now Aguilar not able to hold it in, and the second time tonight, the puck goes into the ceiling. This is our...
That's an out.
That's an out. Yeah, you're right. I was going to comment, this is the fourth game here at the community center, and this is the only game where we've had pucks go into the ceiling. But if we were playing, what is it, Foursquare or No,
Foursquare
is an app, yeah.
Yeah, Foursquare. It was confusing because now technology is more new in my mind than that game.
I suppose if you're at the game, you can check in on Foursquare or maybe even check in virtually at PSB. I'm not sure if you can do that, though, if you're watching a broadcast. Check in and say you're watching this thing. So now Eden Prairie will be 3-on-2. As they'll get the spinner. Fires a ground shot and it's turned away. Now a hit delivered there in the circle by Parrish. And now it's Eden Prairie in the corner. Actually, check that. It was Lawrence who delivered the hit, number 15 for Eden Prairie. It'll be Brady Shue. Shue will backhand that into the Raider zone. It'll be chased down by Decker. Shue will send that back into Cretin to Olmstead. As he'll dump it in. Turns Brady Shue. Minute 25 to go here in the first period. 1-0 Eden Prairie with the lead. Don't have the official shot tally yet, but Eden Prairie certainly has the better of the play in terms of shots on goal. Turned over to Aguilar, who will flip that up ahead, but Cretin Derham Hall will get to the puck first. Ridlin will send that right back into the Cretin Derham Hall zone. Ridlin, the biggest player here on the Eden Prairie team with a big 6'3" frame. Very physical defenseman, seeing first year on the varsity roster. Here's Cretin Derham Hall trying to work their way to center. As Fleischman was turned away by the Eden Prairie defense, 45 seconds. As the Eagles are able to get it out, they'll lose it at the blue line, though, which will allow Fleischman to try to flip it back in. Right up along the far side boards, it's Jack Sullivan who will flip that out through a couple of Cretin Derham Hall players. Has Graham open on the left side, not able to get the puck to him though through a couple of Cretin players. 20 seconds to go. And now from the circle, there's a shot which hits the outside of the goalpost from Michael Graham. Cretin Derham Hall able to work with it outside the Eden Prairie zone. Down to 6 seconds, see if they can get one more rush. There's a shot right on to Jake Gertis. The save is made. That was Logan English looking for his second goal on the season. Gertis able to make the butterfly save with 4 seconds to go. I always wondered about these situations where if you have 4 seconds left and a face-off in your offensive zone, if you don't think about pulling your goaltender, get the extra attacker on with just a couple of seconds, but I suppose 4 seconds, maybe a little bit too much time to try that.
If you're the Bloomington Jefferson girls hockey team and you pull your goalie, you might put 7 players on the ice, which is what happened last night. Got a penalty for that.
I was going to say the referee better have caught that.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing the handicap style like backyard hockey where you say, your team's better, so you're going to have 4 players, we'll have 7.
Right.
That's fun to play too. We'll go ahead and take a timeout and have some first period analysis, stats, and some out-of-town scores to pass along to you. Not many out-of-town scores to give to you, as there's just, I think, 13 games taking place in boys hockey tonight, but we'll get you as many scores as we can, as well as a first period recap up next here on PSB Media.
And we're joined by Rob Friend at the Mulch Store. Rob, a lot of people are finishing up those fall projects, whether it's trimming trees or getting rid of all those leaves. What can people do with those materials once they're done?
Well, they can bring their yard waste into any of our locations and dispose of it for a small fee. And after it's disposed of, we then process it and turn it into compost.
It's also a very easy, straightforward process to stop in at any of those Mulch Store locations, correct?
You just pull into any of the sites, you check in with the gate attendant and pay your small fee, and you're all set to go.
And if people would like more information about the great products and services the Mulch Store offers, what's your website?
mulchstoremn.com.
Think about the best athletes in the world, no matter the sport. How did they rise above the competition? These athletes didn't get to the top of their game on talent alone. They trained hard, and they trained right. PTI will work with your athlete to reach new heights. They'll get a high-level customized program from a skilled professional who truly cares about and understands your athlete's needs. The results at PTI will give your son or daughter the confidence and determination to unleash their full potential. Performance Therapy Innovations, where athletes get results.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com.
7:18.
There's the power play, 7:30.
Think about the best athletes in the world, no matter the sport. How did they rise above the competition? These athletes didn't get to the top of their game on talent alone. They trained hard, and they trained right. PTI will work with your athlete to reach new heights. They'll get a high-level customized program from a skilled professional who truly cares about and understands your athlete's needs. The results of PTI will give your son or daughter the confidence and determination to unleash their full potential. Performance Therapy Innovations, where athletes get results.
He sure looks good.
He does. It's hard to believe he was ever sick. But the bills, they just keep coming.
You remember the life insurance you bought years ago? It has living benefits that you could use for times like this.
Mom, he's sick. No, honey, he's fine.
Don't worry, your hair will grow back. Mine did.
State Farm puts the life back in life insurance with benefits you can use when you need them most.
Visit Brandy Warmbier's State Farm Insurance Office located off Singletree and Flying Cloud Drive, online at brandywarmbier.com.
Welcome back to Eden Prairie Community Center as it's 1-0 Eden Prairie here at the end of the first period on psbmn.com. Give you a scoring recap of the first period, which won't be very long with just the one goal. It was Luke Snuggerud scoring at the 6:51 mark, his second goal of the season, as he picked off a Cretin Derham Hall pass at the blue line as the Raiders were trying to go cross ice in their own zone. And the old adage is, never pass it across the ice in your own defensive zone, and Snuggerud made him pay as he was able to go into the corner and score a goal and pick up his 10th point on the season. Eden Prairie also had a power play in that first period just a few minutes before that goal. They were not able to score, though, as the Raiders were able to kill that one off. Shots on goal, didn't hear the PA announcer announce of that. Fortunately, we're a two-man crew, so we can't keep track of shots on goals ourselves, but hopefully we'll have those numbers for you in the second intermission, or at the very least at the end of the game. Overall, though, Eden Prairie definitely dominated time of possession. Even though we don't have the official shots on goal, they certainly did outshoot the Raiders by, I'm guessing, a pretty wide margin. And I've got to be happy with the way you're playing, I think, Kevin, if you're Eden Prairie and you only have the one goal. But Alex Bailey, the Cretin Derham Hall netminder, even though he's only playing in his second game, has looked awfully sharp.
Yeah, Eden Prairie continued to put the pressure on after, wasn't really a sluggish start, but definitely slower start as they were trying to feel out what Cretin Derham Hall was doing, taking advantage of those turnovers and being the aggressor on offense, doing a nice job in the back check and limiting Cretin Derham Hall's chances. But as you said it, Bailey has kept Eden Prairie at bay for the most part, allowing just the one goal, and that was just a beautiful placed shot, going top shelf, hitting the crossbar, in fact. It did Snuggerud and fit it on the underneath side of the crossbar, so it fell into the goal behind Bailey. Otherwise, he's done a nice job shifting side to side, recognizing where the offensive sets are coming from, who's doing the attacking, the flashing, and who's taking the shots as well. So I've been impressed, considering, again, as you said, just making a second start of the year.
Let's run down some out-of-town scores before we take another break and then head to the second period. Again, not many games taking place this evening, but there are some good matchups, including one up on the Iron Range with Duluth Marshall taking on Grand Rapids. And in that game, they've reached the end of the first period with Marshall ahead of Grand Rapids 2-1. Also a border battle as War Road is taking on Grand Forks Red River out of North Dakota. And first period has gone in Minnesota's favor as War Road leads Grand Forks Red River 2-0 as they're just reaching the end of the first period in that game. A real nail-biter being played between Detroit Lakes and Bagley Foston. I think that's up in your area, Kevin, where you used to do some radio. 9-0, and there's still 5 minutes to go in the first period.
Detroit Lakes is excellent program in all sports, and Bagley a lot smaller school, so that's a fairly unfair matchup, to put it lightly. I know Detroit Lakes made it to state a couple years ago. Not sure how they did last year, but very athletic and sports-oriented town.
Yeah, going to be a long bus ride for Bagley if you're down 9-0 in the first period. Monticello and Brainerd are scoreless. Their game just getting underway. The number 1 rated team in the state, Blaine, is hosting a good small school in East Grand Forks. And that game is currently scoreless at the 10-10 mark. And a couple more scores for you. Hermantown and Thief River Falls. Let's see, that game's in Hermantown, so that's going to be an extremely long bus ride for Thief River Falls. They're scoreless, just getting underway. And also we have Laverne over Minnehaha Academy by a score of 1-0.
You're telling me Thief River Falls isn't getting a charter jet?
No. Well, what? Thief River Falls? That's like in the northwest corner of the state, isn't it?
It's about an hour and a half south of Roseau, rather.
Yeah, and you're going across the state to Duluth.
Yeah.
If you had a freeway, that would be a shorter ride, but yeah, you're kind of driving on 2-lane highways that entire time. Who knows? Maybe they're staying overnight in Duluth. That's the joy of playing in northern Minnesota, though, as I'm sure you're aware of. Broadcasting games up there, a lot of long drives. Broadcasted games in Iowa.
Central Minnesota all the way up to Roseau or War Road for a Friday night game. Good thing it's a Friday instead of a Monday or Tuesday, because you got to get back to work real early in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. And get all those fun Section 8 games, which spans from like War Road to St. Cloud.
No, I know, it's ridiculous. You've got Hawley and Staples and War Road and Thief River Falls all in the same area. And by area, I mean, you're right, the section. It's all within 3, 4, 5 hours of each other.
Yeah, that's still a greater distance, I think. I was going to say, when I covered some basketball in Iowa, the big section was from Des Moines to Omaha, but that's only about 2.5 hours, so I think you have me beat on distance. Yeah.
You don't realize how big of a state Minnesota is until you get past St. Cloud and then decide you want to drive to War Road and the border up there.
Yeah. Then it gets long.
Yeah.
Once you get up past Moorhead in that area. Well, we'll go ahead and take another time out as we reminisce more about long drives in small towns, Kevin and I. We'll have the second period, I should say, coming up next, right here on PSB Media. Well, welcome back here to the Eden Prairie Community Center as we're ready for the start of period number 2. The Eagles out to a 1-0 lead here on PSB Media. As they'll have control of the puck in their own zone. Their first line out on the ice. Snuggerud was picked off by Reese, but he'll lose it back to the blue line to Olmchek. And diving and getting it over to Steven Spinner was Colton Schmidt. Good effort there by one of the senior leaders here on the EP hockey team. Eagles 17 seniors on their team, which is very unusual for many high school hockey teams. Sometimes you only see at the most maybe 10, 11, or 12. Schmidt behind the net on his backhand will get it up to Snuggerud. Through some traffic, they get a tip and score! What a weird tip. Snuggerud with a smart play. Noticed he had a player sitting on that backside goalpost, and they get the tip and score and go up 2-0.
Yeah, 2 players down low created a lot of traffic in front of Bailey, and good stick handling out in front of the crease. Did not see who will get credited with the goal. 2 players again were there, and as you said, great vision by Snuggerud just to put a play and give his players a chance to score, and they capitalized.
It'll be either Keeley or Spinner who gets the goal. I know Keeley was down there, and so was Spinner. We'll have to see who gets credit for it for the Eagles. Snuggerud will certainly get the assist. Well, that's weird. They're giving Snuggerud credit for the goal, which can't be right. Huh. Well, for now, we'll call it Snuggerud's second goal of the game, although I don't know how he can get credit for the goal. It had to have hit somebody out there in front.
Looked like it did get redirected, so.
Unless it went off a Cretin Derham Hall player, but then they gave the assist to Keeley, but I guess he made the pass up to Snuggerud at the point. Well, stats for now have Snuggerud with his second goal on the game. So 2-0, the Eagles with the lead. Cretin Derham Hall with it down in the Eden Prairie zone. Good defense played by the Eagles not to allow that centering pass to get through as Cretin players tied up. As Fleischman will lose it. And now the Raiders will regroup in the neutral zone where they'll backhand that into the zone. Decker tied up into the corner. They'll get it up to the point to Jackson. Jackson over to the right side to Fleischman. His shot goes wide of the net. Raiders maintain possession as Decker will send it to center, but it's tipped away by the Eden Prairie defense. It'll be backhanded out of the zone by Andy Aguilar, junior defenseman for the Eagles. Up ahead to number 9, Grentz. And now from behind the net, it'll be Traxler. His centering pass picked off by the Eagles, and now it's Sullivan. Sullivan will lose it. And now it's Cretin Derham Hall going the other way. Good at the line. They'll dump it in. Well, Traxler. And now Eden Prairie will send it over to the far side to Graham, who will drop it for a teammate. Great pass over to Michael Graham, who couldn't quite get control of that to fire a shot. He would have been all alone. Nothing doing there. So we're approaching the 14-minute mark with Eden Prairie out to that 2-0 lead. There's another shot that's blocked by Luke Snuggerud, looking for the hat trick. Hard hit into the boards. Shu holds it in, fires a shot. Blocker save made by Bailey. He sends that one into the corner. The Raiders will bank that out of his wall, but not out, as Shu will send it right back down low to Clays. Parrish misses on a check on a Cretin Derham Hall player along the far boards. Now Parrish gets thrown up. Back to Snuggerud at the point. Snuggerud, a shot through traffic, goes wide. Brady Shu to Parrish. Parrish works his way into the corner, and he'll lose the puck. Get it back, though, at the end line. And he'll battle it out with a Cretin Derham Hall player, number 6, Logan English. Eden Prairie, a one-timer to Snuggerud, who fans on that slap shot. In fact, he broke his stick. And Cretin Durham Hall will clear the zone where it'll be chased down by Leiden of the Raiders. Eden Prairie just seems to be a step quicker than Cretin Durham Hall here in this second period. As swatting at the puck and trying to get a break was Jason Niederer. They'll be sent back into the Eden Prairie zone. And up to the point they go. Shot blocked by Colton Schmidt. Clays will track it down to the corner as he'll go up against English. Now it's Reese. Reese on his backhand works his way to center. Now sends it to the point through some traffic. Gertis able to knock it down. Now it's Eden Prairie who will bank it off a half fallen out. And we'll get a whistle. That's about 12 and a half to go here in the second period.
Prairie's doing a nice job defensively taking off the backside. And so the passes have had to be more direct by the Raiders. And then the other Eden Prairie players able to get in front of those. Prevent a lot of shots from even making it to their goaltender, Gertis, tonight.
And an email that was just sent to us from one of the captains from last year's Eden Prairie's hockey team, John Sullivan, who's tuning into this broadcast and watching the game. As John says, great time watching his brother, cousin, and the rest of the old teammates play. He says he loves keeping up with how the guys are doing down at the university, and thanks for the broadcast. That's John Sullivan, who was a senior center on last year's Eden Prairie team, a very good face-off man and leader of that squad last year, which went down to a very good Benilde St. Margaret's team in a section semifinals. Like to email us in the broadcast booth, just click that link right below the game tracker screen, which says email the broadcast booth. It'll go right through to us, and we'll read your emails on air. Healy tries to tip that up ahead, and somehow they're good at the line. That looked offsides to me, but play continues. There's Reese. Up ahead to English. English will drop it for Olmchek, whose shot goes wide. And now it'll go back out to center ice. Artsinger trying to steal that with a head of steam, but it's Cretin the other way. Jackson, who's forced into the corner. Now back into the corner. It's Grentz. Grentz has an Eden Prairie player tied up. And now it's out to Keeley. Keeley tries to spin, lost the puck though, and now it's Jackson. He'll bank it off the half wall to a teammate, but goes too far for him. And now the Eagles, Luke Snuggerud will send it across to a teammate, Brady Shue. Shue up ahead to Jack Sullivan. Sullivan tried to center it, but it was picked off. Held in by Brady Shue, fires a wrist shot, which gets through, but Bailey able to get a stick on that and turn it away. Approaching the 10-minute mark here in the second period. Eagles with a 2-0 lead over the Raiders. Battle for the puck in the corner is won by the Raiders. Losing it was number 16, Fleischman. And now it's back to Luke Snuggerud as the Raiders will go off on a change, as will the Eagles. Calling for the puck is Jack Sullivan, banging his stick on the Cretin blue line. Didn't get it as soon as he wanted, though. Now it's Snuggerud who will send that back into the Raider zone. Ringing around the end boards, but not out. It's Eden Prairie with possession. There's a shot by Pager, which goes wide. Held in by Aguilar, who will send that into the corner to Nieder. Nieder centers it, but hits the side of the net and takes a funny bounce and almost goes into the net. But Bailey able to kind of sit on that and make the save. What a weird bounce that took.
Seen that happen before, where it ricochets off the backside boards and end up going in. Almost happened to Bailey there. Just able to cover up. Good pressure again by Eden Prairie down on the top of the crease area.
I think that was Harry Pager that actually made that deflection there for Eden Prairie. Good heads-up play by the senior for the Eagles. Nieder swatting at the puck. Eden Prairie up ahead to Pager. Pager will dump it in quickly out of his crease. As Bailey to try to slow it down. Olmchek will send that up ahead to Traxler. It'll be dumped in. Aguilar will quickly get that ahead to Pager after sending it around the end wall. Turned over, though, in the neutral zone. It's Cretin Durham Hall. Good to the line. And past the stick, though, of Carl Crawford, not to be confused with...
The
Carl
baseball
Crawford
player.
Doesn't play for the Red Sox anymore, does he?
Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah, that's right. And still loose, comes away, and hitting the goalpost now redirected after Clays fired that initial shot which hit the post. Another funny bounce. And now we have some more action in front of the net after the whistle as a stick goes flying.
Harry Pager got a left-handed hook into the back of somebody's helmet.
That was a really broken play. It went through a couple of Eden Prairie sticks, came away to Jack Clays as we see on replay. Then some hitting after the whistle there. Some Cretin Durham Hall fans want Jason Nieder to get a penalty for a hit after the whistle, but...
Well, Pager got the left-hand hook in.
Yeah. I gotta say, there was some hitting by both teams there on the replay. Yeah, you're right, though, Pager. The little hook there, huh?
Yeah, well, I don't know that he was going for the hit. It was almost like he was just swinging to try to push, and he made clean enough contact with a player who was kind of leaning forward that it looked a lot worse than it actually was.
Hopefully I don't date myself too much with this reference, but it was kind of like old Mike Tyson boxing on the Nintendo.
You don't date yourself too much.
Yeah.
It's one of the last few heavyweight greats.
Yeah. Well, I don't mean dating myself and Mike Tyson. I mean the old video game.
You don't want to date
Nintendo
Mike
game
Tyson?
System. No, not that either. I don't know about that tattoo.
Yeah.
Well, Eden Prairie did indeed pick up a penalty on the play, and Jason Nieder was sent to the box. We'll get our first look here at the Cretin Durham Hall power play. They'll send that into the circle. And what a neat little play there for the Raiders. Couldn't get it to convert, though. Now another hit delivered, and this one's going to come against Cretin Durham Hall. So some hard hits here in the second period as Spinner was checked hard. He looks to be all right, though, so it looks like we'll go 4-on-4 now. And we'll have to see how many minutes this one will be. Trying to keep this all straightened out here on my stat sheet.
Fans are complaining. Sounds like a major penalty, but they give it a minor penalty, so nothing to gripe about there. Kind of charged in and took out Snuggerud. Definitely getting testy here midway through the second period.
Yeah, without a doubt. So now we're 4-on-4. So we'll open up the ice a little bit for both teams. Eden Prairie will go on a brief power play in a minute 15. Arsinger. Get that over to Parrish, who had to spin around as he didn't get that pass cleanly. Actually, excuse me, that was Charlie Lawrence. I always get he and Parrish mixed up for whatever reason, 15 and 19. Over to the Cretin Durham Hall bench. What a pass up ahead, but Gertis able to make the save. Good offensive play design there for the Raiders as they try to cut that lead in half. Olmstead into the corner to Reese. Loose puck in front. They'll get it over and try to go back to Reese, but it's picked off by Eden Prairie. Now Eagles are going to have a breakaway. Here comes Michael Graham. Graham goes forehand, but Bailey turns him away. Graham trying to deke him and go on that lower glove side, but Bailey was having none of it, and he makes the save.
Well, great goaltending plays over the last couple of seconds.
Snuggerud right back into the zone, tried to center it, but good defense played by the Raiders. And now we'll get a whistle with 7 seconds to go on the penalty to Nieder, and 37 seconds to go on the penalty to Jack Buckingham of the Raiders. Now Eden Prairie will go on a 30-second power play in just a few seconds. Now we'll have Spinner, Schmidt, Snuggerud, and Shue on the ice. The Raiders up at center. Can't tell who's on the face-off since they don't have the numbers on the front of their jersey. That's still waiting for the face-off.
Call nets.
There we go. You have better eyes than I do.
That's why I wear contacts. To give you context. That was bad.
Did you spend all night planning that one?
No, I just came up with it on the fly. That's why I wasn't
very
great.
Good. Very good. And they'll be offsides at the line, as Eden Prairie will be on a very brief 24-second power play. 2-0 the Eagles with the lead. Again, both teams undefeated. The Raiders 3-0-1. Eden Prairie 4-0. Biggest test that Cretin Durham Hall has had so far this season. Their early season schedule not as tough as it'll be later in the season once they get into Suburban East Conference play and see a lot of tough teams like Roseville and White Bear Lake, among others. Up to the point they go to Spinner with 2 seconds to go on the power play. Cretin Durham Hall now full strength as it's over to Snuggerud. Snuggerud stick handling at the blue line will send that down low to Shu. He fired it into the side of the net. Now Colton Schmidt. He will send it down to Spinner. Spinner dangerous down there in the slot. Puts a shot on, but Bailey's able to turn him away. And boy, Bailey's really been impressive in this game. I mean, the goals he's given up, one of them was off that weird redirect play, but other than that, I think he's had a really strong game here for the Raiders.
Well, he's done a great job, even in heavy traffic, of finding the puck and just instinctively reacting. His blockers, his pads have been at the right level and instinctually very successful tonight. Again, 2 goals scored by Eden Prairie. One was a beautiful skill shot from Snuggerud, and the other one was set up because Bailey had 2 Eden Prairie offensive players stacked in the crease. It made vision very tough for him.
Yeah, that Snuggerud goal, that would have taken a heck of a goalie to make that save because Snuggerud did put in a great shot off that goal post. Had another email sent to us, and Kevin, you and I will recognize this name, Nick Bentz. Played hockey last season for Eden Prairie, and of course you know him from your coverage of lacrosse. And he's doing some multitasking. He's watching this game and also studying for finals.
Well, I wish you well, Nick. Thanks for tuning in.
Hopefully we're not distracting you too much from your finals.
Well, it might be a good distraction if he's studied for more than 4 or 5 straight hours.
Well, hopefully it's some easy class too or something like that.
Hopefully.
Yeah. If you have to write an essay or something, I think you might be in some trouble, Nick. I could never write an essay and watch a sporting event.
I don't know. What is harder, you think? Writing or doing something like a hard science, math, or
yeah, that's true. I don't know if
physics
I could
or
watch
something. Would you be able to do practice problems?
Well, see, if it was math, I could do one problem, watch the game, then go back and do a little more math. That would be easier for me as it's flipped back into the Eden Prairie zone, and it'll be an icing call.
If it was basic math, I could do that while watching something.
Yeah. If you're getting, Algebra 1, that's pretty easy. I don't think there's too many Algebra 1 courses at the U.
I was thinking arithmetic.
Yeah. Oh, they're all 1 plus 1.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's all you need for these broadcasts.
That's very true, unfortunately.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Putting my arithmetic to use, but not doing any multivariable
well, it is easy.
diagrams.
If Eden Prairie scores a goal, they'll be at 3.
Yeah.
If they score 3 more goals, how many will they be at?
6.
There you go.
I wasn't quite listening to what you were saying, so I paused and got scared I was going to sound really dumb on the air.
Actually, you did because you're wrong.
You said 3 plus 3, right?
No, 3 plus 2 is 5.
No, that was.
Oh, man. This is why we're broadcasting and we're not mathematicians. The officials are talking things over, not sure exactly about what. The head referee and the linesmen are talking about something over at the blue line.
Talking about math.
be trying to figure out the problem, too. If Eden Prairie were to score 3 goals and if Cretin Durham Hall were to score the square root of 9 goals, what would the score of the game be?
3 and something. I wasn't listening to the first part.
So if Eden Prairie scored 3 more and Cretin Durham Hall scored the square root of 9, what would our score be?
Okay, 5-3. There you go.
There you go, yep.
Like how you're trying to quiz me on pretty easy math. My problem
That's what
is
you said your forte was.
My problem is I'm not listening to what you're saying.
You're focused on the camera, right?
Yeah, well, I'm just proving.
Oh,
I guess I'm proving that I can't even multitask doing arithmetic because I am trying to work the camera and figure out what's going on, and I'm not answering your math questions properly.
Well, speaking of what's going on, I'm trying to figure that out as well, what the referees are going through. Now Lee Smith is going to talk to the officials as well. Got a cheer from some Cretin Durham Hall fans for some reason, again, and they might know something that I don't. Coach Smith having a conversation there with the head referee. I'm not seeing the penalty box doors open, so I don't think it's anything with any type of penalty. I don't think we have any problem with the clock either. I guess while we have a moment, we can remind you that our broadcast today is brought to you by Performance Therapy Innovations. Dr. Grant Norland, with a state-of-the-art facility located at the Golden Triangle at Eden Prairie, will help you get better at whatever sport you play, as he has lots of sports-specific programs to help you out, especially if you're a football player. There's a great quarterback program that he can get you through. But it's kind of a different approach in terms of enhancing your performance. It's a little bit more about the science side of that and technology, as he has a lot of really cool technology over at that facility. You can find more information at athletespti.com, athletespti.com. As now finally some things are getting sorted out, as it looks like Jack Sullivan's going to go to the penalty box for Eden Prairie. I'll go ahead and jot that down here on the score sheet. What the infraction is, I'm still not entirely sure about. It looks like the Raiders will go on the power play for the first time tonight. Or second time, I should say. They had another one which was cut short when they picked up a penalty themselves. But the Raiders on the season are converting at a very good percentage. This is a pretty good number. 10 power plays and they've scored 7 goals. Good enough for 70%. Last season, Cretin also had a very good power play, as they were just under 40%. That's never good news, as Jack Sullivan just assessed a game misconduct penalty, or a 10-minute misconduct, I think is what I heard the PA announcer say, along with a 2-minute penalty for unsportsmanlike. Well, something apparently happened, I guess, after the whistle between Sullivan and someone else on Cretin Durham Hall, or maybe Sullivan and the official. Nonetheless, though, we'll continue play here with a little over 80 seconds to go on the power play. Cretin Durham Hall turns it over in their own zone for a moment. Now they'll get that up ahead to Hubner. Hubner tried to give it to his teammate. Now it's back to a streaking Reese. He fires a shot into the glove of Jake Gertis for a save with a minute 11 to go on the power play, and 3:17 here in the second period.
Well, I think on the scoreboard they got a wrong. Number 8 was assessed the game misconduct, and Sullivan's serving a 2-minute minor penalty.
Yeah, I think you're right. So you're right. I think Arsinger is actually going to get the game misconduct.
Because he was the one who was on the ice during the stoppage where we were talking about math, and skated over to the bench, hopped over the wall, and then immediately exited.
Yeah, so I think you got that straightened out now. Yeah, it was Arsinger who got the misconduct, and it's Jack Sullivan who's serving the penalty. And there's a shot, and they score! As Gertis wasn't able to save that cleanly, as it'll go into the net, and the Raiders cut the lead in half.
You were mentioning how proficient they are on the power play. Setting that one up beautifully. The right face-off circle. Again, Gertis not getting a clean look, and that deflection carried the puck all the way into the back of the net. We have a well-contested game again at 2-1.
That goal is scored by Hubner, and for him, that is his 8th goal of the season. One almost deflected back into the net for the Raiders, as now they have a burst of energy now on a 2-1 lead. Again, that goal comes on the power play for the Raiders, who are now 1 for 2 with the man advantage. And now it's covered up by Gertis, as we'll get a whistle at about the 2:20 mark here in the second period. So that certainly made things interesting here at the community center, as Prairie seemed to have control of the game, but all of a sudden another bounce could tie this game up for the Raiders, as it seemed to give them the momentum. That shot blocked by the defense of Eden Prairie. Now into the corner, a player tripped up and falls to the ice. Shoe lost it, and now it's flipped up into the Cretin Derham Hall bench, as we're approaching the 2-minute mark here in the second period. Getting goals in the game, Luke Snuggerud so far has both Eden Prairie goals, although we're still waiting to see if that second goal will officially be given to him, as we thought there was a deflection out in front. And Cretin Derham Hall scored just a moment ago, as it was Hubner getting his 8th goal on the season. Brett Hubner, a senior here on the Raider squad. There's Brady Shue around the end wall, but held in by Cretin Derham Hall. Shue will get it again near the advertising, and it's out to Harry Pager. Pager to Michael Parrish. Works his way around a Cretin Derham Hall player, but is forced in the corner. Well, he'll be hit. Well played, he's bound to help out for the Eagles. Pager being pestered by Jackson. And we'll get a whistle. So looking at some numbers now that we're in a 1-goal game. Cretin Derham Hall has struggled in 1-goal games over the past year plus. 1-4-2 in 1-goal games, which is surprising because they've been well above 500 the past year plus. Last season they were 16-9-1. And this year they're 3-0-1. Cretin Derham Hall was just assessed a penalty, so Eden Prairie goes back on the power play. And now here comes Cretin Derham Hall, shorthanded. Reese, a shot, he scores! As he goes low on Jake Curtis and ties the game up shorthanded. And he and the rest of the Raiders are fired up.
Well, it was just an unfortunate play for Eden Prairie defensively. Big shot taken from the point. The rebound given up by Bailey goes out in transition, and Cretin Derham Hall had a guy cherry picking. Good pass up ahead and able to capitalize on the goal, beating Gertis 5-hole.
This game is tied up here at 2. As that goal comes with about a minute left. And a short-handed play. Now Eden Prairie comes back and scores as they go down low, and it's Michael Graham who will put the Eagles right back out in front, as we have some fireworks here at the end of the second period. And Michael Graham from down low gets the goal for the Eagles.
That was great passing by Eden Prairie, faster than the coverage of Cretin Derham Hall could keep up. And Graham able to slice that one in on the left side, half of the crease, beating Bailey between the left-hand post and his body.
Luke Snuggerud getting the pass to Michael Graham on that goal for Eden Prairie, as it'll be Brady Shue from behind the net. Snuggerud will get the assist for Eden Prairie. It'll be tipped out in the neutral zone. Now looking for another one. It'll be Spinner, and they score! A great pass over to Steven Spinner, and it's now 4-2 Eden Prairie, as the goals are flying here at the end of the second period.
It's like the end of the Vikings-Ravens game last Sunday.
That's a good way to put it. I think that was Brady coming up from his defensive position and making a good pass over there to Spinner for the goal, and now it's 4-2 Eagles as we're down to 8 seconds. Clock not working here on the computer, so we're down to 5, and Eden Prairie looking for another one. That Spinner will be called offsides with 4 seconds to go. Goals came so fast I didn't even put the third goal on the scoreboard, so now I got to throw a 4 on the board for Eden Prairie. A flurry of goals here for the Eagles. Just after Cretin Derham Hall scored 2 quick ones, as now we are at the end of the second period, as the Eagles have a 4-2 lead over the Raiders. Take a timeout, have some second period analysis on the way, and also give you another rundown of scores from outside the area. This is high school hockey right here on PSB Media.
Are you sure we should take this billboard down? People find out State Farm does car loans as well as they do insurance. Our bank is through. Good point. Grab an edge.
Look, there's 2 guys on the State Farm Borrow Better banking sign.
No, for real, there's 2 dudes on the State Farm Borrow Better banking sign.
Breaking news from the State Farm Borrow Better banking sign.
Seeing 2 men that have climbed the Borrow Better banking sign.
Gentlemen, please get down from the State Farm Borrow Better banking sign. Bill, get the hose.
Okay, he's getting the hose. All right, let's go.
Talk to a State Farm agent about car loans that can save you hundreds. That's borrowing better.
Visit Brandy Warmbier's State Farm Insurance Office, located off Singletree and Flying Cloud Drive, online at brandywarmbier.com. We're speaking with Rob Friend at the mulch store. Rob, once people have finished up trimming those trees or raking those leaves, how easy is it for them to stop in at the mulch store to drop off those materials? Or maybe even pick up some mulch for next year?
Well, if you want to stop in and drop off, you come in, check in at the gate attendant, and they'll point you in the right direction after you pay a small fee. And if you're ready to pick up something to do a final garden or mulch project, pick out the product you want, pay for the fee, and we'll load up a trailer or a pickup truck if you have that. If not, we do have delivery available.
And of course, you guys have locations all over the metro area.
That's right. For locations and more information on delivery, you can check us out at our website, mulchstoremn.com.
Think about the best athletes in the world, no matter the sport. How did they rise above the competition? These athletes didn't get to the top of their game on talent alone. They trained hard, and they trained right. PTI will work with your athlete to reach new heights. They'll get a high-level customized program from a skilled professional who truly cares about and understands your athlete's needs. The results at PTI will give your son or daughter the confidence and determination to unleash their full potential. Performance Therapy Innovations, where athletes get results. Stay current on what's going on in your local community. The Sun Current is a local community newspaper that serves several communities in the Southwest Metro, including Eden Prairie, Edina, and Bloomington. The Sun Current will keep you up to date with the latest comings and goings on your school board, city council, arts and entertainment, and community events. And make sure you check out their in-depth high school sports coverage featuring weekly articles on Eden Prairie, Edina, Jefferson, and Kennedy. From football and hockey to tennis and swimming, the Sun Current has your favorite team covered. Keep it local and visit the Sun Current website at current.mnsun.com. And we're joined by Rob Friend at the mulch store. Rob, a lot of people are finishing up those fall projects, whether it's trimming trees or getting rid of all those leaves. What can people do with those materials once they're done?
Well, they can bring their yard waste into any of our locations and dispose of it for a small fee. And after it's disposed of, we then process it and turn it into compost.
It's also a very easy, straightforward process to stop in at any of those mulch store locations, correct?
You just pull into any of the sites, you check in with the gate attendant and pay your small fee, and you're all set to go.
And if people would like more information about the great products and services the mulch store offers, what's your website?
mulchstoremn.com.
Well, welcome back to Eden Prairie Community Center as we had ourselves a wild finish to the end of the second. As Eden Prairie's up 4-2. As I was still trying to write everything down here on our score sheet, but all those goals came within the last, I think, 3 minutes of that second period. We'll recap the scoring for you in period number 2. Cretin Derham Hall, trailing 2-0, was actually able to tie the game up on a goal by number 11, Brett Hubner. That made it a 2-1 game. Jackson was able to pick up the assist for Cretin Derham Hall. And for Hubner, that was his 8th goal of the season. And shortly thereafter, the Raiders were able to tie it up as Reese was able to, I think, go 5-hole on Jake Gertis, and that gave ourselves a 2-2 game. But seconds later, Eden Prairie scored. Michael Graham on a power play was able to get a shot from down low on the far side as Eden Prairie was shooting from left to right on that one. He got a great pass from Luke Snuggerud as Graham scored, and for Michael Graham, that was his 4th goal of the season, now giving him 8 points. At the very end of the period, it was a 2-on-0 breakaway between Brady Shue and Steven Spinner. Shue was able to feed a pass over to Spinner, who scored, and that gave Eden Prairie a 4-2 lead here at the end of the period. And for Steven Spinner, he continues his hot start. 3rd goal of the season. He now has 7 points. Also notable for the Eagles, Luke Snuggerud is now up to 12 points on the season, 3 goals and 9 assists on those 12 points. Again for Cretin, the goal scored by Brett Hubner and Nick Reese. Reese, he's now got 7 points, and for Hubner, he is up to 8, and that was actually his 1st goal of the season as well. His prior 7 points had all come on assists. Shots on goal in the 2nd period were 9 for Cretin Derham Hall and 10 for Eden Prairie. Game totals, 16 shots on goal for the Raiders and 20 shots on goal for Eden Prairie. And in terms of special teams, we did have some power play goals at the end of the period. 1 for Cretin Derham Hall and 1 for Eden Prairie. And since we had so many goals and power plays at the end of the period, can't give you the exact percentages that teams are converting at here on the power play, but I can tell you that each squad does have a power play goal. So a fun end to that 2nd period with those 4 goals scored in a period of about 3 minutes. A lot of fireworks here at the community center, and been a fun game overall. But that power play goal scored by Michael Graham really seemed to take the momentum away from Cretin Derham Hall as they were really fired up after tying the game up on that Reese goal. And then Spinner able to put them back up by 2. We'll have to see if the Raiders can respond again or if Eden Prairie will be able to hang on and win this game. Let's go ahead and pass along some out-of-town scores to you from the high school hockey hub here in Minnesota. Go ahead and get the screen refreshed, and a good battle taking place up at Lakeview Arena in Duluth as Grand Rapids and Duluth Marshall are tied up at 4 at the end of the 2nd period. Warroad has jumped out to a 3-0 lead over Grand Forks Red River out of North Dakota. 45 seconds to go in the 2nd period of that one. Still pretty ugly between Detroit Lakes and Bagley Foston as Detroit Lakes out to a 13-0 lead. Ouch. Monticello has a 1-0 lead over Brainerd in the 2nd period. Blaine and East Grand Forks, a powerhouse from Class 1A. East Grand Forks taking on the number 1 rated team from Class 2A, and they're scoreless with about 5 minutes to go in the 2nd period. So small school putting up a good battle. 2 more scores to pass along to you. A 1A battle as Laverne leads Minnehaha Academy 3-2. And the Iron Range versus Northwest Minnesota matchup. It's Hermantown leading Thief River Falls 1-0, and I don't think that score's been updated in a while as they still have 8 minutes left to go in the 1st period according to the Hockey Hub. So that's where things stand from around the state. Go ahead and take another timeout, and we'll have the 3rd period on the way next year. Listening to high school hockey right here on PSB Media. Welcome back to the Eden Prairie Community Center as we're just about ready for the drop of the puck here in the third period. Been an exciting game so far as both teams combined to score 4 goals at the end of the second period. Similar to, as Kevin said, the Vikings-Ravens game from the other week. And the Raiders will win the faceoff and play it back into their own defensive zone. It'll be Hubner back to defenseman Olmsheck, and they get it back to Olmsheck, who will backhand that, but his pass was tipped up into the air. He'll fight with it into the Eden Prairie zone before Brady Shue takes over. And Shue up ahead to Spinner. Spinner cross ice to Luke Snuggerud, but they'll be whistled down offsides as we're a half minute into period number 3. Well, coming up next weekend here on PSB Media, if you want to watch a lot of great hockey, we have some coming up. We'll have coverage of all 3 games at the Edina Holiday Classic right here on PSB Media. That's going to be a big-time tournament. Eden Prairie, Edina, Elk River, Grand Rapids competing as centered out in front, nobody home. Eden Prairie, Elk River, and Grand Rapids are all undefeated. Edina is the defending state champ, so that'll be a big-time tournament. Thursday through Saturday, we'll have coverage of all 6 games, and of course, we'll also cover all the Eden Prairie boys hockey games this year, so keep it here on PSB for all your EP boys hockey coverage. Jackson in the corner for Cretin Durham Hall, up to number 23, Ryan Smith. His slap shot goes wide, and it's Nick Bentz going the other way for the Eagles.
Nick Benz?
Or Nick. Why did I say Nick Benz? I know he's listening. He might be wishing he's still playing. I don't know why I thought that. That was definitely Harry Pager.
We're bringing back the memories.
Well, they're not even the same number, which is weird.
Robinson Cano's number is Nick Benz's number.
Yeah. Benz was 22. I don't know how I got that and 9 mixed up. Well, thanks for pointing that out. Otherwise, I would have sounded weird, especially if Pager had scored. All right, we'll get a whistle here with 15-12.
Hey guys, Nick,
yeah.
Jack, that's what John, excuse me. That's what happens when we're emailing back and forth and reading your emails.
That's right.
Brett starts calling players on the ice.
I still have
your
no
names.
idea how I pulled that out. If they were the same numbers, I could understand it. I think in my first game, I accidentally called Michael Parrish John Sullivan since they were both 19, but that one's understandable. It'll be slowed down by Bailey behind the Cretin Durham Hall net. And the Raiders will try to work with it outside their own zone. They'll do without the neutral, but that one's deflected away by Colton Schmidt. There's Jack Keeley. Crosses the blue line, and they're going to be offsides. Close play at the blue stripe here on the ice. Well, speaking of emails, I have another one to read to you. This one's not from Nick or John. This one's actually from Dan Sorensen, who's watching this game from the hospital bed after hip replacement surgery today. So, Dan, hopefully things are going all right with your hip surgery. Know it's a long recovery, but hopefully worth it in the long run. I've had some relatives who have had hip replacement surgeries, and the first few months are always kind of rough trying to rehab, but once you're all set, end up feeling a whole lot better. So hopefully the Wyzetta hockey dad, Dan Sorensen, will be feeling better soon. Listening from Wyzetta, maybe doing a little scouting for the Trojans. That one's gloved out of the air by the Cretin Durham Hall goaltender Bailey. And it will be sent over to the advertising on the far side. Colton Schmidt over to Jack Keeley behind the net. Eden Prairie will send it out to Keeley, and his shot was blocked as he tried throwing one on from the slot. Cretin Durham Hall's Hubner will get that up ahead to Nick Reese. Both goal scorers for Cretin Durham Hall trying to connect. It's Reese trying to work around Luke Snuggerud, but Snuggerud gets the better of him. And that's a part where Luke Snuggerud, I think, really improved on his game last season, was on the defensive side. Has always been a standout offensive player. And now a Cretin Durham Hall player gets tripped up. Does not look like we'll get a penalty, though, as sliding into the net was number 5, Logan English. Finished the thought, though. Luke Snuggerud, always been a skilled offensive player, but really improved on the defensive side of his game last season, and that's certainly carried over here into this season for Eden Prairie. We'll, of course, be playing D1 hockey along with Steven Spinner in a few years for Coach Dean Blaze at Nebraska Omaha. And that is number 9, Harry Pager. Out to the right side to Michael Parrish. I got the name right that time.
I'll give you a smiley face star.
That's right. Here come the Raiders trying to start something as the shot from Logan English will go wide of the net. Now it's Eden Prairie the other way. To Parrish, along with Plays, and they're good at the line. Plays will get tied up, though, by English. Now a shot from the blue line gets through to Bailey. I don't think he saw that one cleanly, as he looked like he saved it awkwardly. And that'll be sent in to Gertis, who will send that aside for Jack Sullivan. Over to Nieder, but he overshoots Nieder on that pass. Well, Cretin Derham Hall to gain possession in their own zone with a flip it back out to neutral to Brady Shue, who will backhand that into the Raider zone. For the Raiders, it's Buckingham. Up ahead, number 23, Ryan Smith. He'll dump it down for Buckingham. He'll lose it, though, as Nieder. And the Eagles will work with it outside their own zone. Stick handling up the near side boards is Jack Sullivan. Loses his balance for a second, but regains it. To send it out in front, it's held in by Brady Shue. Jack Sullivan to track it down in the corner against a Cretin Derham Hall player. Now it's Nieder. Nieder will lose it, though, to Ryan. Nolan Ryan, number 14 for Cretin Derham Hall. Be a good baseball name to have. Fleischman battling it out with an EP player. Now it's back to Oldenschenk at the blue line, and the Raiders will be whistled offsides at the blue line with 11:34 to go here in the third period. Tonight's broadcast also brought to you by the Tavern on 4 and 5, as they'll be having several Eden Prairie hockey games showing at the big screen at the restaurant on the Tavern on 4 and 5. So yourself a double dose of some great stuff. Watch Eden Prairie boys hockey and also eat some delicious food at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Kevin, I've been talking about those cheesy tater tots. What did you have when we went there? You had something that was really good too, didn't you?
Cowboy burger, bacon barbecue, big fried onion ring on the top. That was delicious. And those tater tots, I didn't get the cheesy ones, just the melt in your mouth, homemade kind, and those are certainly delicious.
Yeah, so check it out. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 again, showing lots of Eden Prairie hockey games up on the big screen. 11:07 to go in the third period as Cretin Derham Hall. Hubner will dump it into the Eden Prairie zone. Hubner will get it himself, but he'll lose it to Steven Spinner. Swatting at the puck is Nick Reese. Now Spinner through the legs of a Cretin Hall player. Now will dump it for a teammate, and they score! What a beautiful goal by Eden Prairie, started by a dangle by Steven Spinner, stick handling it through the legs of a Cretin player, then dumps it to a teammate, and they score and go up 5-2. What a good-looking little play for the Eagles.
Yeah, nice give and go. Colton Schmidt able to capitalize and beat Bailey 5-hole. Quick thwack going through the middle of the slot as he was approaching the hash marks between the circles.
That goal scored by Colton Schmidt. I lied. It wasn't through the legs of the Cretin Derham Hall player. Spinner just stick handle around the guy, but still a great move by Spinner to start that play and get it to Schmidt for the goal. So the Eagles score again, and they're up 5-2. Again, Spinner will get the assist for Eden Prairie. Plays, tries to center it, but nobody home. It's Michael Parrish. So Alex Bailey's given up 5 goals for Cretin Derham Hall, but they've been 5 pretty good shots from Eden Prairie. Some snipes from Luke Snuggerud and Colton Schmidt, and also some weird bounces that he's given up. So even though Bailey's given up 5 goals for the Raiders, by no means has he played poorly. There's some good offense here from Eden Prairie as Nieder will try to sneak one past him. High stick side, turned away though by Bailey. Sent right back in by Aguilar. Eden Prairie's going to have to touch up at the blue line, but referee will whistle him offsides. Again, if you're an Eden Prairie boys hockey fan, we'll stream just about every game this season, including the 3 games next week at the Edina Holiday Classic. Thursday through Saturday next week. Check them out. Each night we'll have 2 games at 6 and 8:30. It's a round-robin tournament featuring Eden Prairie, Edina, Grand Rapids, and Elk River. Be a heck of a tournament as Rapids, Elk River, Eden Prairie undefeated, Edina the defending champs. Check it out next week, Thursday through Saturday, right here on PSBMN.com. And of course, more Eden Prairie boys hockey games after that tournament as well. That one's flipped up, and now we'll get a whistle at the 9:09 mark. Referee says it was played with a high stick. Get Eden Prairie out to a 5-2 lead, and in fact, Cretin Derham Hall is going to get a penalty from that sequence, as it'll be Flood going to the box for the Raiders. So Eden Prairie will be on now their 3rd power play of the game. They're 1 for 2, although one of those 2 power plays was an abbreviated one. Coming off of a 4-on-4. They only had a 30-second power play, which they didn't score on. The other one they did. So they're 1 for 2. So Eden Prairie actually now 3 for 4 on their last 4 power plays. Both teams playing very well with the man advantage. Kevin, I know you tweeted on our Twitter account at PSBMN how a lot of basketball teams would be happy with having their free throw percentage be the same as Cretin Derham Hall's power play percentage.
Yeah, it's up to 72.7%, so certainly something Dwight Howard and Shaq could look up to.
Yeah, they could only dream about a 72% free throw percentage.
Or even a 60% for them.
Could they even combine for a 72%?
Yeah, they could.
If they, yeah,
but
yeah.
Andre Drummond plus Dwight Howard might be lower than 70%.
Andre Drummond.
He's a good player, but his free throw percentage, I think, is 37.
So they could go with the old Hack-a-Drummond strategy. It doesn't have the same ring as Hack-a-Shack, though.
Oh. I feel like you have to get a snare drum into that statement. Not Drummond.
Luke Snuggerud, cross ice. He overshoots his teammate, but it'll still be a Pager. Sneaky little shot is blocked by Bailey at the 8:12 mark as there's 1:04 to go here on the Eagle power play. And as we said, you can follow us on Twitter. We're at PSBMN. Also email us in the broadcast booth by hitting that email to broadcast booth link just below your game tracker screen. And just like that, we get an email from Nick Bentz. He and John want to stop by the booth and give some good commentary at next week's Edina Holiday Classic. And hey, they want to do that. We got nothing against that, do we, Kevin?
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stop on by.
They probably know more about hockey, or forgotten more about hockey than we'll ever know, I'm guessing.
Well, also be a nice way to start your winter break as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so John and Nick, if you want to, feel free to stop by the booth next week at the Holiday Classic in Edina. Down to 35 seconds on the Eden Prairie power play. It's Jackson. Back behind the net to number 14 for Cretin. He'll lose the puck though, and it'll trickle out to the neutral zone and be backhanded into the zone by Tanner Lydon. Parrish over to Snuggerud. 8 seconds to go, and one of the rare times Luke Snuggerud misfires on a pass, as it'll be an icing call with 7:14 to go. And we do have another email to pass along to you. This one is from Chad Olson. Chad's listening from White Bear Lake, says, great job, guys. Fun game to watch. Tuning in from another hockey hotbed over in White Bear Lake. Well, the Bears are supposed to have a good team this season out there in the Suburban East. That's a team Cretin Derham Hall will see twice this season as it's gloved out of the air by Bailey. At Cretin Derham Hall, White Bear Lake will probably end up battling it out for the Suburban East Conference Championship, although I know
Roseville.
I was going to say you're an alum of Roseville, so I know they're certainly going to be in the mix as well. Slap shot by Mark Sullivan. Man, did he blast that one, but it went over the net. They'll backhand that back in to a teammate into the corner. Again, thanks, though, for Chad Olson listening into the game tonight. That one sent on net to Jake Gertis. Reese will backhand that into the corner to Hubner. Hubner will be tied up, though, by Niederer. And now dangerously sent back out in front. Not sure how thrilled Coach Smith will be about that play. That play came back to bite Cretin Derham Hall in the first period, where you pass across ice in your own defensive zone. There's Reese checked up by Niederer. And that shot blocker save made by Gertis and sent back out to neutral. From the corner, it's Brady Shue. On the season, Brady Shue with he came into the game with 1 point, but he picked up his second as he assisted on the Steven Spinner goal at the end of the second period, so he's now got 2. The senior Brady Shue for Eden Prairie. Sullivan checked by a Raider player. Now it's into the near corner. A few players from each side will try to dig out that puck. Approaching the 5-minute mark here in the third period. Again, Eagles out to a 2-0 lead. And Cretin Derham Hall will dump it in as Keeley lays the lumber. There's a shot from Chad Fleischman. And Gertis able to make the save. Fleischman trying to go high stick side on Gertis. Charlie Lawrence stick handling with it. High in the net, but he's pestered by Ryan Smith of the Raiders. Eden Prairie will come away with it. Lisa Doda. Fleischman. That shot goes wide. Now Snugrud from the near corner. Out to center to Steven Spinner. Spinner will retreat to his own blue line, waiting for his teammates to change, but he turns it over to Fleischman. Fleischman trying to go back door to Olmchek, but that's a tough no-look pass to make. Didn't get through. And now it's Colton Schmidt. Schmidt. Aguilar with a head of steam. He'll be forced into the corner where he's checked up by a couple of Raider players. Spinner. Out to the weak side, but fanning on the shot was Aguilar. Something didn't go right for Aguilar. Didn't see what, but he just didn't look comfortable on that one. Now it's Niederer. And what a goal, Niederer on a pass to Colton Schmidt. And Schmidt has his second goal on the game off of a great pass.
Oh, just a simple basketball backdoor cut and in for the layup, essentially. Beautiful feed again, as you said, Niederer to Colton Schmidt. And goals don't get much easier than that for number 10.
That goal comes at the 4:06 mark. And that puts Eden Prairie ahead by a 6-2 score as they've opened things up here in the third period. Cretin Derham Hall trying to respond, but Gertis comes out to cut off the angle and make the save against Joe Decker. Reese able to dig out the puck. They'll get that up towards the blue line where it's held in by number 14, Nolan Ryan. Go back to a hockey player, Nolan Ryan, not the Hall of Fame baseball pitcher. Graham also gets the assist on the goal for Eden Prairie as well. And for Colton Schmidt, that is his 5th goal on the season, 2nd goal of the night. Both he and Luke Snugrud have 2 goals apiece for the Eagles. Shue stick handles his way along the near side boards. He'll center it, trying to get it to Parrish, but he was tied up by a Cretin Durham Hall defenseman. Now Shue gets it back. Blocked, though. And it'll be Olmchek. Olmchek will spin, ring it around the end boards, not out as Shue holds it in. Shue will send it right back down low to Graham. And also Michael Parrish. Parrish works his way to his forehand into the corner where he's checked up into the wall. Cretin Durham Hall will get it. And they'll send that out to the neutral zone to Hubner. Hubner, a shot from beyond the blue line at center ice, is covered up by Gertis with 2:34 to go in the third period. So Eden Prairie likely will move to 5-0. Cretin Durham Hall will suffer their first loss of the season, falling to 3-1-1. Raiders will head into more Suburban East Conference play after the new year. Eden Prairie heads to the Edina Holiday Classic next week and the Sports Authority Classic the week after. Back-to-back tournaments for the Eagles, and we'll have all of their games here on PSB coming up during those holiday tourneys. And there's a hit delivered at center ice as Parrish was able to stand up the Cretin Durham Hall player. Mark Sullivan, a slap shot from the blue line, gets tipped up into the netting by the Cretin Durham Hall defenseman at the 1:58 mark.
Great job in this game by Eden Prairie keeping the pressure on. They had a little bit of a letdown, bring up the shorthanded goal and allowing Cretin Durham Hall to inch back in and tie it up. But as we discussed, almost immediately in the second period, able to recapture the lead to make it 3-2 and haven't looked back since.
Jack Sullivan at Lawrence will send it behind the net. And now we get some new players on the ice for Eden Prairie. Saw 37 making his varsity debut this season. That's Cole Lawrence of Eden Prairie. He actually played in the JV game when Eden Prairie beat Cretin Durham Hall 4-1. So Lawrence doing some double duty for Eden Prairie, seeing some varsity time. It's Jack Sullivan. Down to a minute 22 as our clock stopped running for a moment. We'll get that reset when we can as it's tipped into the corner. And backhanded back behind the net of Jake Gertis. Approaching the 1 minute mark, here's Harry Pager. Ahead to Lawrence, who will flip that up into the crowd right when there's 59 seconds to go. I have another email from you. This is from John Sullivan, it looks like. John Sullivan wondering if that Mark Sullivan can ever hit the net. He had a big blast a second ago. Got a lot of power on it, but unfortunately not so much in the accuracy department.
Well, he did hit the netting. That counts.
Well, you're
for
right.
something.
He did hit the netting. Yeah, just the wrong netting.
Right.
So there you go. Jack can at least say that. He hit the wrong net.
He got confused.
That's right, huh? Maybe John can line him up with some glasses then. Half minute to go here in the game as it's to Colton Schmidt looking for the hat trick. Schmidt will pass it off to a teammate as the save is made. As he got that one to Michael Graham. As we're going to whistle with 24 seconds. Let's see if we can catch that last one on replay here. Good pass there by Schmidt, and someone lost their coverage there for Cretin on Michael Graham. At the blue line, Eden Prairie wins the face-off as Quinn Riddlin tries to hold it in. Reese gets checked up against the side wall, and now it's Jack Plays. Plays over to the far side to Colton Schmidt, who will dump it in. Bailey slows it down for Cretin Durham Hall. 5 seconds to go. And that should pretty much do it, as Eden Prairie comes away with a 6-2 victory over Cretin Durham Hall right here on PSB Media. We'll have the Sun Current postgame show on the way in just under 30 seconds here on PSB.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com.
And welcome back here to the Eden Prairie Community Center. This is the Sun Current postgame show. The Sun Current has been your community news leader for over 50 years. They're now mobile user-friendly at current.mnsun.com. And you can find a recap of this game and lots of other Southwest Metro sports on the Sun Current. Kevin, a good effort here by Eden Prairie after a bit of a sluggish start in the first period. They were able to get 6 goals on the scoreboard and beat Cretin Derham Hall 6-2. Really got the offense going at the end of the second period and into the third period, and I think Coach Lee Smith has to be impressed with his team.
Well, they showed great diversity here tonight. Did a good job in the forecheck, back check. Obviously the goaltending very solid again tonight. Gertis faced some tough shots, some rockets off the sticks of some talented Cretin Derham Hall players. As was expected, you mentioned throughout the broadcast just how hot Luke Snuggerud has been over the last season plus, or dating back, to the end of last season, where he's been a point-scoring machine, getting and setting the tone early for these Eagles. Cretin Derham Hall did do a nice job getting back, took advantage of a turnover, a rare mistake tonight by the Eagles, but again, so many seniors, so much experience on this team. The Eagles didn't really cave at all. In fact, they used that 2-2 tie game as extra motivation, it seemed, almost instantaneously after being tied. Went up 3-2, scored another quick goal to make it 4-2. And then that third period, just as well as Eden Prairie had played in the third, they really picked it up in the third and pulled away from Cretin Derham Hall.
So Eden Prairie will move to 5-0 on the season. Cretin Derham Hall 3-1-1. Let's quickly recap the scoring from the game. It was 2 first-period goals, or actually 1 first-period goal, I should say, from Luke Snuggerud at the 6:51 mark to give the Eagles a 1-0 lead. Snuggerud struck again at the 16:19 mark early in the second period. We thought his shot may have been tipped, but for now Snuggerud gets credit for the goal. Jack Keeley gets the assist. Cretin Derham Hall scored 2 goals towards the end of the second period to tie the game up, as it was Hubner and Reese scoring for the Raiders. That made it 2-2. But then Eden Prairie responded quickly thereafter, as it was Michael Graham and also Steven Spinner scoring for the Eagles to put them up 4-2. Those 4 goals scored by Cretin and Eden Prairie all came in about a 3-minute sequence at the end of the second period. And after period number 2, it was Eden Prairie ahead 4-2. 2 third-period goals were scored by the Eagles. The first one was by Colton Schmidt off of a great feed from Steven Spinner. And the 6th goal of the game was scored by Colton Schmidt off of a pass from Jason Niederer. And that gave Eden Prairie a 6-2 win. Again, don't forget we have the Edina Holiday Classic. All 6 games for you next week here on PSB Media. Make sure you tune in if you're an Eden Prairie fan. Thanks so much for tuning into our broadcast tonight. Our game tonight was brought to you by the Mulch Store, Performance Therapy Innovations, the Sun Current, Brandy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office, the Sun Current, and also Home Video Studio. They bring you tonight's game here on PSB. For Kevin Ford, this is Brett Johnson. Have a good night.
Thanks for tuning in to live local play-by-play coverage of the Eagles High School sports. Tonight's broadcast was brought to you by Umbria Gourmet Pizzeria, the Mulch Store, Alpha Investment Advisors, Performance Therapy Innovations, Brandy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office, and Healthy Training. Keep it tuned to PSBMN.com for more broadcasts of Eagles High School sports.